Alright, here's another quick tip. um, and this has to do with the type of foam or whatever it is you use to mount your brushed flight controllers. Now, for the entire time that I've been flying brushed quads, or building my own, I guess, I have been using a certain type of foam tape, and you've seen it in some of my past videos. You get it at Walmart or Hobby Lobby or wherever. You know, it's sold everywhere. And it's the 3M, I believe. Yeah, it's 3M branded. I don't have any right now. I'm out of it. But you've seen it many, many times in the past on my quads. Because I've been using it for a long time, like a couple of years. And recently, I have switched to this stuff. And this stuff is just amazing. This is just the best stuff I've ever seen. It's kind of expensive. It was like $7 for this roll, and it was a little bit bigger. I've used quite a bit of it since I've had it. But it is just the most awesome stuff I've ever seen. I'll cut a piece off and pull off the red to show you. But it's just so cool. I'll even stick it on something to show you. You can use it for anything. I put it on all my ESCs. Mainly I'm just talking about the brush flight controllers just because sometimes it's hard to find something that'll work for a lot of the brush flight controllers these days. But mostly I'm talking about the SciSky because it has all that stuff on the bottom of it. I think I might have a SciSky just to show you. Well, I ripped some stuff off of the bottom of it, I think, but it just has a ton of stuff on the bottom of it, and it makes it really uneven. So, well, yeah, there's usually like a big thing right here, and then I believe there's something else, a yellow square piece somewhere on here, but it's not there anymore. But it makes it really uneven and really hard to put something on there. But this stuff is really stretchy. I'll pull this layer off and show you what I mean. It's kind of hard to get this piece off, but kind of get the hang of it. A certain way to do it, and it comes right off. And I'll show you. Don't be pulling stuff out of there. See how stretchy it is? And it goes right back to where it was. It's pretty cool stuff. It's pretty thin, but if you need to, you can double or triple it. I guess I'll put it on here. But you can push it down around stuff. Because it's stretchy, it'll just stick around things that are sticking up. See, like that hump in the middle there? It's just it'll push all around it. And then you can just put another layer, and then it'll be completely flat. And this stuff is extra sticky. It's even stickier than the old foam tape I used to use. So, you've seen this quad. This is the last brushed one that I built, and I did use that foam that came with the flight controller, which is the same as this foam. You can't really see it, but it's that little bit thicker foam that I said was really awesome. Well, it's not really that awesome because it's too thick, and you don't want your flight controller sticking up too high to where it can wobble around, especially if you're putting stuff on top of it. And I had my Eachine TX02 up on top of here, but unfortunately that thing broke. After like 2 or 3 times of using it, it just stopped working. The picture was just black in my goggles. So the power would come on, but there was no picture. And then if I squeezed a little bit on the side of it, the picture would come on, and then I let go and the picture would go away. So
I need my sock.
I'll get you some in just a second.
That's what I want.
Okay, so anyway, I took that stuff off and I just went with this stuff on here, and it's just completely stuck down there. Like there's no way you could pull that up unless you really wanted to. So, and there's no play really. There's a tiny bit, which is exactly what you want. So it feels just really solid on there. It's not going anywhere. There's no way it's coming up unless you really pull up on it. And then it kind of just stretches and pulls off eventually, all in one piece, nice and clean. So it's just the best stuff that you could use. I'll show you how it peels up. And then it'll shrink back right to the size it was. And you can see where the stuff was all pressed into it. So yeah, it's awesome stuff. I've been using it for about a week now, and it works really good. I got a piece on here, and you can see there's usually like one square block. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's the processor or something else. I'm not sure, but usually you'll have a frame that has like a cutout like this, and you can see the square is just perfectly in there to where the flight controller is all the way level and flat, because that piece that was sticking out is right in where this hole is. So it just worked out good. And same thing with this one. You can see the square that was on the bottom of the FC is right in where that hole is, where that triangle hole is, which makes the FC just sit perfectly flat and level. So it works really good. Oh, and then, so I guess I got two tips. So this is tip number one. Use this stuff because it's awesome. It is a little bit more expensive, but this roll should last quite a while. I've already used quite a bit of it, and there's still a bunch left for $7. And you don't have to only use it on your brushed flight controllers. I've used it on my ESCs. It works really good for the bottom of ESCs. Look at that, how it just pushes down over everything. It's pretty cool. So I'll show you on my F-14B. I just did it to it yesterday. It kind of replaced zip ties, so instead of using zip ties, I just use that stuff, and the ESCs aren't going anywhere. You can see it's on the bottom there underneath the ESC, and this ESC is not going anywhere. There's no way I could move it. It's not even budging. It just makes it look a lot cleaner and nicer, and you don't have the stress of the zip tie pushing down on the components of the ESC and stuff. So it's a real good idea to use. And then my other tip is with the Eachine TX02. If you're like me and you don't have money, so you don't want your things to break, or you care if your things break. Rich people usually don't care too much, they just buy another one. But I am poor, so I usually can't just buy another of whatever broke. So I try to not let things break in the first place. So I'm going to give you a tip for the Eachine TX02, and that is don't put a rubber band around over the top of it. You know how Eachine has all these new ready-to-fly brush quads, and every single one of them they use a rubber band around the camera to hold it down? Don't use it. I think that's why the picture ended up going out on mine, from the stress of a rubber band pushing down on the connections. Because the TX02, it's a little bit different than some of the other ones. It only has a spot on the top left and the bottom right holding the two things together. So if you push on the other two corners, it has a wobble to it. you can push in and squeeze in and it'll wobble back and forth. It'll wobble back and forth because there's only connections on two corners. The other two are open, so you can squeeze it together. So it's really, really fragile. I would suggest putting a drop of hot glue in the corners that don't have anything to make it to where you can't push it, squeeze it back and forth. So that's my tip. Or else you're going to end up with, where is it? I think I threw them in the garbage. It's just gone forever. I'm trying to remember where I put it. Well, there's the number to the LCD screen for it. Here's the lens cap. Where did I put that thing? I think I might know where the... There's the camera part right there. The back part got thrown in the garbage because it was garbage. Or no, maybe it got thrown in here. I don't know, it doesn't even matter. That's it right there. I tried to keep the lens. The lens, you can't unscrew it. You can't even remove the glue that they put around the lens. It's so strong and solid. It's like some kind of epoxy or something. So definitely don't worry about the lens ever turning, ever. Because even if you wanted to take the lens out, you'd end up breaking it. So don't try to take the lens off. That's my third tip. Because the price did go up today. It's now $26 instead of $22. And it's going to go up to $31. So get them while you can.